What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market and what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to talk about what's going to likely happen for the end of the year for SPY and Tesla and many other tickers, what you should be expecting going into 2024, in my honest opinion. I'm also going to break down what other indicators are saying about the markets and what I anticipate to happen for the future. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I talk about what's going on with the markets, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. The offer ends in just 11 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. Looking at SPY, we had a very monstrous week this week. SPY was at 409 last Friday, and just 1 week passed and ended up closing very close to 434, hitting a peak of 436. So the market got a crazy bounce after the FOMC meeting. The market's been pumping like crazy. And even though the market could either pump a tiny bit more, then start pulling back in a very healthy fashion, or maybe just pulls back from here, it's going to be very healthy, in my opinion. It's not going to be too aggressive. We're not going to see another crash from here. And I believe the market has more upside coming for the end of the year. I'm going to break down more details about this and then talk about what I have been saying about the market for the past couple of weeks. So in my videos, you can see right here, 13 days ago, I posted one where I talked about how there could be a drop in a November squeeze coming. And then going into last week, I called that the market's going to see this big squeeze in November. It's likely going to be coming once again. And that was based off many of these technical indicators, such as the fear and greed index. Looking at the McCullen volume summation index suggested that a bottom was coming. I was also looking at the options chain on SPY because the options chain was suggesting that there were so many shorts coming. Everyone was calling this crash. Shorting went up like crazy on SPY. There's still millions of puts still open, and yet those people who are shorting are not doing so well. And institutions, whoever they are, who are also involved in this, they could also be taking some big losses by kind of joining the crowd. So this gives us a very important lesson about the markets and what's been happening for the past couple of months. In fact, for almost this entire year. And that is there's a lot of manipulation in the markets. Okay. And for that reason, and I know a lot of people are not going to agree with what I'm about to say, but I don't think there's going to be one massive crash. I don't think that's going to happen for 2024. I do believe the market's going to see corrections, kind of like what we saw previously, but I don't believe it's going to be one giant 2008 stealth crash that's coming. And here's the reason why. When everyone's expecting a crash, okay, the market's likely not going to crash the way everyone's thinking. And you could see from history what just happened, right? The last few weeks, starting in the August period, and this aligns with seasonality very well. I've been talking about this on my channel for months. August, September, October were bearish. November, December, bullish months for the markets. That's exactly what seasonality was showing us. That's what happened so far. But basically, when the market was selling off and selling off and selling off, people started to panic. That's why the fear and greed index hit extreme fear. So many people are talking about the market crashing, SPY breaking to new lows, the recession coming. There is so much fear. And once everyone turned very, very bearish, once we saw these indicators hitting these bottoms, once we saw all these people starting to sell, giving up on the markets, people talking about Tesla going to 150, Tesla tanking back down to 100. I saw all the comments, all these people saying that. That's exactly when the market started to squeeze and we pumped like crazy right back up. So tell me, do you still believe there's going to be a massive, massive crash coming? SPY is going to go back to like the 300 area? I don't think it's going to happen that way, but I do believe there's going to be downside. But I'm going to break it all down in a very similar, in a simple fashion. So, what I think is going to happen is this: the stock market is going to see some downside, at least for the short term, right? We're going to see the market correct a little bit from this big pump, and then later on, going into December, we're going to follow seasonality. We're going to see way more upside still. And from a seasonality basis, the market may downtrend for a week, maybe a week and a half of just some sideways price action, just like the purple line right here, even the blue one right here shows us during all midterm years. I think we're going to follow this trend for a slight pullback and sideways price action for a week to week and a half. And then towards the end of November, we're going to continue to rally very hard. We're going to break our highs from right now and just continue to push and push. And then December is going to be another very bullish month. And the end of the year is going to be very bullish for the markets. The market may even get very close to all-time highs. Now, when this happens, What's going to happen is this, and this is what I think is going to happen. When you look at the all-time high on SPY, that happens to be around this 467 area. I think we're going to be approaching 460 towards the end of the year. You may say it's crazy, but remember, we went from 409 to almost 440 in just 5 days. So to rule out the possibility of us getting close to all-time highs, in my opinion, would be crazy. I still believe it's possible. And I think this market is full of manipulation. And what they're going to do is set a trap for all these investors. I don't know about the timing. I don't know if it's going to be like by January we approach that level, if not by like the end of February. I'm not too sure about that, but the market's going to rally hard. It's going to get very close to all-time highs, and then we're going to see the quote-unquote crash. But it's not going to be one crash. It's going to be what I would deem as a kangaroo market. Okay, I know it's a very colloquial term, but here's what I mean by it. The market, if you look at the market, we've entered the pump and dump market. Okay. The market drops hard, turns everyone bearish, and those market makers know this. And once everyone turns bearish, they're going to pump it right back up. And then once everyone turns really bullish, which is going to happen, I would say within the next, I would say within 2 months to 3 months, we're going to see a lot of people turning super bullish. Retail is going to be buying in like crazy, and they're going to tank the market again to start off 2024, maybe in January, if not by the end of February. I'm anticipating another sell off like this. And we're just going to go back and forth between these phases in a pump and dump market or a kangaroo sideways market. I think that's going to happen for the first few months of 2024. There's going to be a few months of selling. They're going to trick a lot of people to turn so bearish. Then there's going to be a few months of buying where the market's kind of like rallies and pushes up. We're just going to continue on that trend for the first at least 6 months of 2024. And then to end 2024, I think because of the election, they're going to try to pump it again. It's a very crazy market. It's just full of manipulation. And that's what's driving this market. Okay. So, for example, let me just go back to the options chain. When the market was sinking and sinking and sinking, what happened? I know a lot of people out there are saying that, oh, no one was expecting a crash. Well, if no one was expecting a crash, how come there were so many puts that were opened on SPY? How come if you look at the put and call options, where is it? I have it somewhere right here. We saw this continuing to go up with the ratio. We saw a lot of put buying, right? Everyone was buying puts. People were expecting a crash. And you could see right here, that we have millions of puts still expiring for November, December, even going into January. We have millions and millions of puts, very high puts to call ratios. So that's exactly when everyone turned bearish, that's when they're going to pump the markets. And I think we're just going to continue on these cycles. All right. So I think the market moves in cycles. That's what I think is like really a good way of getting a gauge of the markets. And I think that this chart is going to be very good for the end of the year. So I'm not going to focus as much on 2024. I give you guys my general view. But for the end of the year, okay, I know so many people are expecting a big crash for 2024, and they know exactly what you're thinking. They know everything, guys. They have information on every single one of us. That's why I think we're going to enter that kangaroo sideways market for that period. And then for the end of the year, we're just going to focus more on this now. I just see this basically playing out. I think that we're going to see another basically like a little correction, maybe a small pullback with some sideways price action. It's going to be minor for the next week to week and a half. And we're going to see maybe some sideways price action as well. Maybe we're not just going to sell off for the next 2 weeks, just like a little sell off and then a pump and sell off back and forth for some time before the market turns bullish for the end of November. For December, we're going to turn even more bullish, and the market could get very close to all-time highs. That sounds crazy, but wait, just give it some time, and I assure you that it's very likely that this is going to play out. And then we're going to enter 2024 on a very strong note. We'll see what happens when that time comes, but I think that's very probable, and I still hold my view because of all these puts expiring and because of the fact that earnings were just not that bad so far. We had some decent earnings. Apple ended up beating on earnings. Their guidance was kind of weak, but their earnings were not bad. And most companies had decent earnings. So, once again, guys, okay, when I was screaming November squeeze over and over again, I got a lot of criticism and I ended up being right. I mean, November came, the market squeezed, it was insane. And now I'm telling you that there's going to be a healthy pullback coming very, very soon. Market may pop one more time and then drop and just continue. And then I see even more upside coming for the end of the year. Now, I'm not always correct. I'm a human. Nobody, no matter how intelligent, no matter how bright they are, no matter how much information they have, no one is always going to be 100% correct with what the market's going to do unless they have like insider information. And no one's perfect. So I can't always be correct, guys. I don't want to come out that way. I have made plenty of mistakes. I've been wrong when it comes to some predictions. But one thing that I believe and I have relatively high conviction of is that I'm not going to be incorrect. I'm not going to be incorrect about the end of the year. I think the market has more upside coming. A little correction, then more upside to come for all these different tickers. All right, so that's what I'm seeing for SPY. Expect this thing to retrace a bit. We'll see where this thing ends up retracing to, depending on if we hold this support or not. But we could be re-entering 430, if not lower levels soon. We could get one more pop thanks to Berkshire Hathaway's earnings, then drops to that level before another bounce. Or we could drop even lower than that by the time we drop and then bounce later on. I anticipate that, and I think that there's more upside coming, and I still lean more bullish for the end of the year. On the QQQ, it's basically the same thing. It's been moving in unison with SPY recently because the algorithms are just taking full on control. Berkshire Hathaway can either give us one more pop and then a big drop, or we just drop from here, get a small correction. I will break down the more specific details tomorrow. And then we're going to see more upside later on for the end of November going into December. I think there's a lot more upside coming. I'm still anticipating that. For Tesla, Tesla could correct for a week to week and a half, but during the final week to week and a half of November, I expect way more upside approaching the Cybertruck event. The launch event is coming. There's going to be a lot of hype coming back. When Tesla was falling like this, one of the things that I called out on Tesla was the weekly 200 EMA acting as critical support. You could see this held Tesla up for quite some time. Tesla held this and tested this many times and managed to hold up. So, because it held this and bounced very nicely, Tesla did not crash extremely hard. People were saying Tesla's going to go down to like 150 a share, $90 a share. It's the end of the world. I told you, don't worry. Tesla holds the support. We're going to be fine. And we're going to see a nice rebound for November because of the November squeeze. And look at how Tesla was impacted by the November squeeze. Tesla went from 194 all the way up to almost 227 in just a couple of days. Okay. It bounced like crazy. All right. That shows how much the market, the algorithms, the robots controlling the market, that's how much they impact Tesla. That's why it's very important for me to talk about SPY, the QQQ, and other tickers. It's very important to consider them. So Tesla might correct a little bit, get a very healthy pullback. It's going to be completely fine. It's just going to be another buying opportunity, in my opinion. The more it drops, the more I'm going to be buying. I've already been buying like crazy from here. I just see myself buying more. I just see so much more upside potential for Tesla for the end of the year. And I'm very excited for what's about to come for the company. All right, guys, so that's it for this video. Hopefully this video was very insightful and helpful for all the people out there. Once again, my general view of the market is this. I've been saying there's going to be a squeeze for November. That happened. I was proven correct for the week. I'm not always perfect. I just want to be honest with you. I'm not going to be perfect all the time, but this time I was correct, and I think that market may pop a bit more than drop or drop from here. The market may trade sideways for some time, aligning with seasonality. Then we're going to likely see SPY start to rally towards the end of November. Going into December, I'm going to expect even more upside, and we could get very close to the highs we saw from August, if not break them. I'm sorry, July, and then we could even break them during the July period. And then we could even get close to all-time highs, and then the market might correct again when we come into early 2024, maybe by January or February. Then I anticipate a kangaroo market where the market's going to get a big sell-off, just like what we got from August to November, but it's not going to crash forever. It's just going to be another correction, followed by another big rally, then another correction, and then another rally for some time before we end to 2024 strong. That's like my general view of the market. That's where I'm leaning as of right now. My opinions could change if some big black swan event happens or if there's some kind of new pandemic or anything like that. So once again, guys, you want to be very open-minded to a lot of different things. You want to be able to transition and be very adaptive in a market like this. But that is my general view of the market for now. Let's not worry too much about 2024 just yet. Let's just focus on the end of the year. And I still think there's more upside coming overall. All right. Hope this video was as clear as possible. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one once again. Thank you, and peace out.